You were one of the good ones, one of the great ones. Farewell, old friend.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box? Give me the gun.
We finally left Phuket after 11 days in quarantine. Lena is feeling better and I'm still in the clear, so it was time to leave the hotel prison story arc behind and get a flight out of here. It's been hectic, and I planned to film this episode sooner, but I needed to wait for an important component to arrive. We are a good way through sorting the main story quest mentioned in episode 1, and settled into the house in Chiang Mai. The house we're living in has been largely unused for a few years, and so we embarked on a new mini story arc, one that was new to me, an ancient enemy, older than mankind itself.
ซื้ออะไรไปกินอ่ะก๋วยเตี๋ยวอ่ะ
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine.
I think we have it sorted now, but I'll keep you posted. I've managed to summon a lizard army, but be careful not to be too accommodating to the house geckos, or you might summon the fabled gecko of the kettle. The incredible upside is, now you've laid your juicy eyes on this blessed gecko, you will experience incredible coffees and tea for 48 hours. You're welcome. We've hit up a bunch of malls and subsequent arcades, as shown in the YouTube shorts. For now, we're in Chiang Mai, so the travel content will slow down a little. Now the travel content has slowed down, it's made way for other things just like this. Let's talk about my current travel gaming setup. Currently, I'm using these three things. First up is the Nintendo Switch. Good build quality, as you'd expect from a company that has to design hardware for children's disgusting hands, and on top of that, there's a few titles I enjoy playing. It's a reasonably good experience on somewhat dated hardware to be called current gen, however, it's not awful, and while it can't measure up to the lofty heights of the 3DS, it's still okay as a travel companion. And, speaking of the 3DS, my next handheld is the new Nintendo 2DS XL. I can't stress enough how good one of these is when it's hacked and running a homebrew, and even if you don't do that, the scope and quality of 3DS games available is simply staggering. It's a truly fantastic system, and I completely understand how it's had such longevity. With an extensive array of titles, durable build, and relatively low weight, you owe it to yourself to get one if you're presented the chance. I would opt for the new 2DS XL over the 3DS XL equivalent, since the hinges, which are the only thing likely to break over time, are much better in the 2DS XL. The last of the trio of handhelds I use is the first generation Odroid Go Advance. It is what got me back into the retro gaming scene, the handheld scene again, and reignited my passion for pursuing a more portable experience. Which is weird really, because in this video I will talk about why this is going to be the first handheld I actually retire. Years ago, on release, I picked up the kit build set named Odroid Go Advanced, a portable system that followed on from the Game Boy looking Odroid. As you can guess, the Odroid Go Advance was designed to replace the look and feel of a Game Boy Advance, but with a little bit more power, allowing gaming up to PS1. It's small, deftly light, and has a sharp screen, thumbstick, L and R triggers, a whole line of customizable buttons, and on top of all that, you build it yourself from a kit. My hype was intense and I ordered the product. When it arrived, I had planned my paint scheme, bought the paint, and I was ready to build it. First I taped off and sprayed the shell, then next was the reasonably simple build process. Nothing required soldering or glue. In fact, once you knew how to assemble it, it's reasonable to say you could build it from scratch in under 10 minutes. There was a massive headache sorting out the OS. I had a Windows PC, and the OS for Odroid is Linux, so I had to use some software to even read the SD card, and I'll admit, I was a little out of my league with the setup and management of the operating system. A lot of reading later, and I managed to get it all working. I loved it. So much, in fact, that it was the very first thing I photographed with my brand new shiny lens when it arrived. Cool, look at that lost critical focus. So, why am I retiring the Odroid Go Advance? Well, I now have something much better. Okay, will I do a detailed review of this?
No. No, I don't think I will.
I think I'll spare your ears for my mind-numbing, spirit-crushing review, and if a detailed review is something you actually want to endure from me, then let me know in the comments below. I did write a big one up, but I think what I'll do instead is just a quick summary. My review is based on 5 categories: functionality, build quality, features, weight, and battery life. As it should be, each section can be scored between 1 and 10, then those sections combined make the final total. I'm under some illusion apparently that my scoring is fair, 5 being average, not bad, nor good. I'm sick to my back teeth of reviewers feeling like anything less than 8 is bad. It's not. Not when you're scoring things correctly.
Okay.
I give the Odroid Go Advance a 6.5 out of 10. It's above average thanks to a flexible OS, wide range of emulators supported, and a fully customizable hardware experience from the get-go, an experience I've not had from any other handheld. I rate the build quality of the Odroid Go Advance a miserable 3. It just feels fragile, and playing anything fast sounds like you're throwing a bag of bones down a stone staircase. I dropped this once, and only once, from knee height, and the result was a broken L trigger. It's simply bad. Couple that with a low quality thumbstick, clacky buttons, and overly fragile L and R buttons, and you have a device that you just cannot drop. Seriously, don't drop it. The Odroid Go Advance has reasonable features that I rate at a solid and respectable 6. Big one is how easy it is to add your own custom buttons, operating system, shells, and colours, but extra welcome features are the 6 rubber buttons under the screen that can be mapped for all kinds of functions, giving you flexibility in your experience. For its size, 173 grams makes the Odroid Go Advance insanely light. I just couldn't imagine it being lighter at this physical size. A solid, thick, and juicy 10 out of 10. Last is battery life, which the Odroid Go Advance scores a giant 9. I often got around 10 hours of constant use, and the only reason why this can't score a 10 is that it takes nearly as many hours to recharge through the barrel pin charger. Really strong battery life regardless. And there you have it, a final score of 34.5 out of 50. At this score, it's nestled firmly in the middle of good, and I think that's fair for what the device does. Through a travel gaming lens, this is a very capable unit that's only really let down by its shocking build quality. Before I talk more about its replacement, however, I'm going to take a moment to reflect on some of the good memories.
What's in the box?
Get that shit out of here! Slap your peepers on this bad boy! Woo! This is the Miyoo Mini. Weighing in at the ultra featherweight 110 grams and just spanning the size of a standard deck of playing cards, you might think this tiny size can't have much space for functionality. Well, you're wrong to think that because it comes with a delicious USB-C charging port, a welcomed bottom-mounted 3.5mm audio jack, an easily removable and swappable 1900mAh lithium-ion battery, L and R buttons, L2 and R2 buttons, 3 top-mounted LED lights for charge states and active states, a very plush and premium feeling D-pad, as well as X, Y, A, B buttons with good travel. A very sharp, crisp, and well color balanced 2.8-inch IPS display running at 640 by 480, which means you're getting native resolution for emulators like PS1. A reasonable 1.2 GHz dual-core SSD 202D CPU that'll play up to PS1 almost flawlessly. A TF card reader slot, meaning you can use large microSD for your OS and games. I've put a 128GB SD card in mine, so I don't really ever need to worry about space. And lastly, not really a feature, but a welcome addition, is its very sturdy build quality. It's been dropped 4 times now, and luckily no damage. This delicious device comes in 2 flavors: the SNES color scheme of white with green, blue, yellow, and red buttons, which is the standard SNES scheme for the world minus America, and the other flavor is the SNES color scheme for America, which is grey with black and purple buttons. On a side note, for those not aware, the color differences for USA and the rest of the world come down to an executive decision from Nintendo of America, who thought the SNES color scheme felt too childlike and wanted to appeal to older teens and adults when they were launching the product. Anyway, ancient trivia aside, I'll admit at first I was apprehensive. It is small, and it's hard to understand just what the size is from looking at images online or reviews. When I first opened the box, I initially looked at it and thought, oh, that's far too small, what have I done? Thankfully, I was wrong about its size, and I find it fairly comfortable to use. Only issue is if I'm laying on my side and playing for a long time, using the L and R buttons makes my hand ache, kind of familiar ache. No, make the memories stop, make them stop! I've had a reasonable amount of time using it, and after upgrading to the superior Onion OS, I can say that its overall performance has been pleasing. I can't do an in-depth review, as I've not had the device long enough. I've been mostly playing Wario Land 4 on it, and I do not regret trying that game out for 1 second. It's truly masterful, and it deserves its own video in its own right. So, with that, I'm retiring my ODRIOD Go Advance. The broken L trigger was a huge hit to my experience, and now something better in almost every area has appeared, and it just makes sense to make this jump. The ODRIOD Go Advance is what spurred me into the handheld emulation scene 2 years ago and rekindled my love for gaming on the go. I'm glad I purchased it, and I'm glad I helped fund the development for the scene. It's been wild since the announcement of Steam Deck. It's really pressured the competition to reveal their hands and bring us better products and give exposure to the subculture. Lastly, I want to talk about the recent Nintendo Direct. Some of the titles that I'd just thrown onto my Miyoo Mini were announced for remasters on the Switch. 3 of them in fact. Front Mission 3. A game I've always wanted to play. As a massive turn-based strategy game fan, and as you saw in the last video, a massive mecha fan, Front Mission blends the two. I've always wanted to play it, and when I saw it announced, I knew I just had to grab it on Switch. Next up is an RPG I have played before but love, and it's Chrono Cross. Yes, it's not Chrono Trigger, I know. I like Chrono Cross a lot, so getting a chance to replay it on Switch Lite is an opportunity that I won't miss. Last up is Earthbound, the cult classic that I've never had time to play, and that will change as soon as it drops on Switch. It seems like there's a lot going on, and while my travel is at a more relaxed pace, there's plenty going on in the handheld sphere to keep me busy. Stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be focusing on some games to play while traveling. Lastly, thanks for your time, thanks for watching, and safe travels, friend.
Okay, that's not